Okay, in this video we're going to discuss 2D shapes and how to find the area and perimeter of those shapes. By the end, I'm hoping you'll be able to use your formulas to find those areas, specifically pertaining to composite shapes, which are putting two shapes together. So remember a little bit about area, right? It's the amount of space contained in the figure, where the perimeter is the edge. So if we're thinking about a yard with a fence, the perimeter is going to be the actual fence itself, and the area is going to be the space contained in between it. The first formula that we're going to go over is going to be the area for a triangle. Okay, so the area for a triangle is going to be 1/2 base times height. Now they do give you a second one on your formula sheet that we don't use in this class, the 1/2 AB sine of C. We won't use that one, so you can really mark that one out. We're only going to use the 1/2 base times height. So remember, the base is going to be the bottom of your triangle, and then the height is from the top down to the bottom. It'll always form a right angle, so that's how you know they're giving you a height there, which they've given us here. They didn't put the right angle. They should have. Okay, so we're going to have 1/2 times the height times the base, which will give us 30, and then we're doing areas, so meters squared. Now, if we wanted to find the perimeter here, we would need to know the values of the side lengths, but here we don't actually know the values of those side lengths, so therefore we can't find the perimeter for this shape without knowing the length of this side here and this side here. The next formula we have is going to be the parallelogram, and it's going to be base times height. Now, when you're finding perimeter, you just add up all of the sides, right? That's all perimeter means. So here, if we're finding the area, we're going to have our base, which is 18, times our height, which is 4, which should give us 72 inches squared. And then if we want to find the perimeter, right, we're just going to add up all of our pieces. So we know this is 30 and this is 18. So we've got 30 plus 30 plus 18 plus 18. So that's 60 plus 36, so 96. And this will not be squared because it's not area. It'll just be 96 inches. Okay, so the next figure we have is a rectangle. So perimeter is length times 2 with plus width times 2, and then the area is length times width. Now you can still find the perimeter by adding up all of the sides. You're going to get the same value as this formula. This is just the formula they give you on your formula sheet. So we've got our width, and we've got our length. So to find area, it's just going to be 7.25 times 2, which will give us a value of 14.5. And then they didn't give us a unit, so we're just going to put a u squared. And for our perimeter, it's going to be 2 times our length plus 2 times our width. And that's going to give us a value of 18.5. And again, we don't have a unit, so we'll just put u there. Then we've got our formula for a trapezoid, which is going to be 1/2 times the height, right, which is going to go up and down in the shape, times base 1 plus base 2. Okay, those are going to be the two parallel sides are your bases. So if we come up here and we try and find our area, we're going to have 1/2 times the height, which is 11, and then times base 1 plus base 2. 18. And at this point, you guys can type it into your calculator to get your answer. And when you type it in, you're going to get 143 inches squared. Now to find the perimeter, we would have had to have known this value here and this value here. And since we don't know it, we can't find the perimeter. Then we've got a square, which is a special rectangle. So technically you could still do length times width, but they do give us special formulas. The perimeter is just 4 times one of the sides, okay? And then the area is the side squared. So if we're looking for the area here, we just pick our side. They're all the same, right? So area will equal 18 squared, which is 324. And then we put miles squared, not forgetting our unit. And then for our perimeter, we would just do 4 times 18, or you could do 18 plus 18 plus 18 plus 18 to get 72. And then don't forget your miles because you don't want to forget your units. Then we've got a circle. The circle is going to be really helpful when we get into 3D shapes. So you're going to want to remember these, okay? The circumference is going to be 2 pi r. I don't ever really use pi diameter. I use 2 pi r. And then our area will be pi r squared. Remember, the radius is going to be from the center point out to the edge. So if I'm looking for area here, it's going to be pi times my radius, which is half of 26, or 13. So our radius is 13 squared. So in terms of pi, I would get 169 pi centimeters squared. Now, if we were typing this into decimals, I would want it in a decimal. So you would just type 169 pi into your calculator and round to the 3 decimal places. Please make sure you are using the pi button on your calculator and not 3.14. And then for our circumference, we're going to do 2 times pi times our radius of 13, which would give us 26 pi centimeters. And if we wanted to put this in the calculator again, we would just type 26 pi. Now let's talk about what happens when we add shapes together. So when we have 2 shapes combined together, these are called composite figures. So here we've got a composite figure. The first step should always be to identify the shapes needed to create the composite figure. So we've got a triangle here, which is going to be 1. And then I've got a square at the bottom, which is going to be 2. And I know it's a square because they've told me all the sides are equal. So to find the area, I'm going to add the triangle. So area of triangle plus the area of the square. Okay, so the area of a triangle's formula is 1/2 base times height. Again, just look at your formula sheet to find that. And the area of the square is the side squared. So the side here is 12. So I'm going to list that out so I have my pieces. I know the side is 12. To get the height of this triangle, I know that the height of the rectangle is 12, and the height of the entire figure is 22.5. So I'm going to subtract 12 from 22.5 to get 10.5, which will be my height. So height is equal to 10.5 feet. And then we know the base of this shape is 12, just like the base of the square. So now I'm going to plug my pieces in. I've got 1/2 times 12 times 10.5 plus my side, which is 12 squared. Then we're going to type this into the calculator. So 0.5 times 12 times 10.5 gives us 63. And 12 squared is 144. Which would give us 207. And then we're going to say feet squared. Now, to find our perimeter, we would have to know the sides of the shape. When we draw this height down, we have a right angle, which means we have a right triangle. So if this is a right triangle, then we could use that to find either side of this triangle. So if we know the bottom is 12 and we split this right down the middle, we know this piece is 6 and this piece is 10.5. So we can use Pythagorean theorem to find the third side. So we're going to have 6 squared plus 10.5 squared equals the side squared that we're missing. So I'm just going to call that x. And I would just type that straight into Desmos and see what I get. And it looks like I'm going to round to the tenths place. I'm getting 12.1. Getting 12.1. So I would know this side is 12.1 and this side is 12.1. So then we just add all of our pieces together. I've got a 12, 12, and 12. Plus 12.1 plus 12.1. Which gives us 60.2 feet. Again, make sure you're typing these into the calculator and double checking that you can type it in and get the same answer. Okay, here again, we're looking for area and perimeter. Again, this is another composite shape, so you just got to break it down. So I'm going to draw in some lines here. I've got a rectangle there. And got a triangle up here and a trapezoid at the bottom. So if that is the case, and I'm looking for the value of this rectangle here, I'm going to do, so I'm going to make this 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so the area of the first one is going to be the area of a rectangle. So I'm just going to have length times width. And that's going to be 4 times 11. And then for the second one, I've got a trapezoid. So 1/2 times the height. Okay, so if the full thing is 11 and this piece at the top was 7, 11 minus 7 is 4. So I know this piece in here is 4. So the height is 4. And then I'm going to do base 1. Okay, the full thing was 13, but then I have to subtract 4 from this piece. So this piece here is 9. Okay, and then for this piece here, if we know that the full thing was 13, no. Okay, I'm going to split my shape differently, actually. I'm going to keep the 4 there and the 9 at the bottom. But I'm going to not use a trapezoid. I'm going to use a triangle and another rectangle. So if I draw this line down here, I know this piece is 6, so I've got another length times width, which would be 4 times 6. And then for that last piece, I'm going to use a triangle, 1/2 base times height. Okay, so if we know that this was 6, this was 4, that's 10. So this bottom piece here is going to be 3. And we know the height from here to here was 11, right? It's the same height as this. So this is 11. And it's a right triangle if I had drawn my line straight. So that's going to be 11 times 3. All right, so we're going to get 44 plus 24 plus 33/2. And then we're just going to add all those together. To get 84.5 feet squared. Now to find all of the values around our edges, the only thing we're really missing right now, we know this from here to here is going to be 7. We just need this piece here. Again, we can get from Pythagorean theorem. So the triangle itself was 11 down, 3 over. So we're going to say 11 squared plus 3 squared equals x squared. We're going to type that straight into Desmos. And we'll get 11.4. And then to find our perimeter, we'll just add everything up. So we've got 11 plus 4 plus 7 plus 6 plus 7 plus 11.4 plus the whole bottom there, which was 13. And then we're back to 11. So we're just going to add everything together. To get 59 feet. For our last one, you can see we've got a circle inscribed in a square. So instead of adding pieces to find the area, we are going to subtract in order to find the area of the shaded region. So we're going to find that the square is 24 inches, which means that from the center out, we're half of 24, which is 12. So we're going to take the area of the square and we're going to subtract the area of the circle. So we're going to have the area of a square is length times width, side squared, so 24 squared, minus the area of a circle, which is pi r squared h, so 12 squared. And at this point, you can type it straight into your calculator or Desmos, which I would strongly suggest Desmos. So I'm going to type 24 squared minus pi times 12 squared. Please remember 12 squared is 144 and not 24. So we're going to find that the area is 123.6. We're going to round to the 10th place, and then we're going to say inches squared. If you have any further questions, please just make sure you see me in class and ask.